Hold on. I'm finding my headphones. I'm still finding my headphones. There they are. They got connected. Now I have to put the ear things. Hi, everyone. This is going to be the weirdest stream ever. Because I've never done one of these, but hi. This is what I use to work to make videos. Hold on, I have to put my headphone ear things back on my head there. Yeah. Never thought I would have to be fighting my headphones the first thing I do when I wake up. But here we are! Then... I get... There we are. Got it. Alright. When this goes on head. So, hi, everyone. Welcome to, Adobe Premiere Pro, I guess. It is overlaid on top of me. I didn't have enough space because the program stretches weirdly. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good night, everyone. Alright, I have nothing for this video, so, let me, open my book here and see, because I was going to reuse some assets, like the sewer dungeon here I had, because that's, like, the best option I have for where slime would be. So I'm going to start from there. I think I need to yoink some assets from my previous video so I can, do something there. Mono QWERTY, thank you for joining in. Let's see. We are doing... I need to go grab, actually, I don't have one. I need to go grab one. I need to get a giant slug PNG. I need to go grab one of those. Let's see. Where are we? I have to grab it from, like, a wiki. And that thing takes so long to load in. How's everyone's day going? So, while that's loading, let's see. We are working with the giant slug, habitat, sewers, wetlands, forest, mild, dull, herbivorous, favorite sprouts, molluscan life form. So we can use the sewer dungeon as our background. Why is this? There we go. There's the image I want. The reason I'm not showing you my, Slug. The reason I'm not showing you my actual, browser is because whenever I pull up that wiki, there's always, there's always nudity. So it's just like, hey, let's not do that. Let's not be shot in the foot today. And we go to remove BG. All right. Download that, and it should be in my downloads folder here. Pop that in, and now we have a giant slug. So what did I do for last video? I'll put it at like 10-ish minutes here. I don't usually make 10 minutes. It's so hard to like write and like speak for 10 minutes. What did I do? So I did the large mouse. Usually the way I do this is like I try not to make it too serious. I try and make it like jokey. Let me put this like right under myself. Like I try and joke around and make it not serious. So there's going to be like I want to make a salt joke. Not assault, like just a joke about slugs and salt. I know I want to do that. Yeah, what? God, this is. Actually, I'll. Let's actually yoink something from. Do I not have? Well, I have to go home. Do I not have a? I do not. I do not have a hunting video ready for ready access. Where are those? Uh, okay. Where is it? Where have you gone? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? God, I Joe. I I lost a. I know there's projects on my computer here. I just don't know where the large mouse went. I'm trying to find it in my files because I need to pull. I need to pull assets from it. I actually search my entire PC then. This PC. I need to find the large mouse. Please tell me. We be serious about our invasion? No. No, you may not. We're not invading anyone. So. Okay, that's not what I needed. I just don't know where this went, so. Let me grab. Cancel all that. I just need like this. And then I go back here. I close off all that. And I shove it in here. God damn it. I forgot I moved a bunch of things since I worked on it. I grabbed it from the Cyclops. So, I moved it a while back, so where, whose project? Save. Close all projects. We'll go back to the main menu that don't save Cyclops. I could have sworn I had. I need to go find this. When we hit the Boggle Bow, we're making Boggle Bow. Are you just throwing words at me? No, you're not throwing words at me. Hold on, need to pull this up. Is this within May 30th, 2024? If this is the additional ones, and I say additional, but like past 200, there might be a slight break in Monster Girl content from there on, where I switch over to say like, as dumb as it sounds, like SCP or Pokemon. Like, I want a physical book to read off of. Where is this file I am looking for? Oh. But if it's, I'm like, I will get to it, but it's more like I don't want to put myself into a thing where I'm now waiting to make like Monster Girl stuff by waiting for the creator to release them. And it's easier to like read off the book than like, you know, go to the website, go to Translate, go do all that or whatnot. Because it's so much easier to have a book next to you when you're doing this. Like, let me tell you. Where? Oh, where? This is what happens. Alright, well that's great and dandy. Alright, I'm just gonna open up my stuff and I guess... Yeah, by the moment I probably would finish to... Yeah, it's important. Alright, let me actually... So, I know where... I know where most of these files are. Hold on, I have to reattach some things and stitch a video back together. I actually have a folder on my computer called Stuff for Videos. Like for sounds, music, all that. Like full backgrounds. Do I have the hanging sign? Is that under my objects? There it is, yeah. Alright, so I don't have to locate, cancel, and I don't have the dossier for the Cyclops anywhere. I'm going to offline those. There we are. Hello, Ferrari! I have caught a zombie today. And now that that's fixed, I can actually go and... That's not what I wanted. Yoink this. Now we close that. Now we close this. I've lost the window for that. I have lost the window for my browser. Where did that go? Well, at least we got their thing I was looking for. I'm actually going to close all projects. Yes, giant slug. Don't save the Cyclops. I've broken something. I have actually broken something. Hold on. Assembly. I need to... All panels. That's not what I wanted. Now I want the effects panel here. Where? Let's like...
Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys!
There's my project. There's my project. Okay. I don't know what happened, but I got this still. I got I got this still. Don't know why it's doing that, so just gonna put that up there for now. Here's our sewer dungeon image. Start from scratch. So now we get to do the fun stuff. Scripting, I guess. Good night, everyone. So what do I want to do? So let me go back into one of my previous videos and learn me what I did. I'm gonna learn me what I did. I've never done this in public, so it's just like I usually like switch around, so like actually having people watch me and making sure I get this done feels weird. So let's see. What did I do with a large mouse? I just made puns at the end of it, so I can just start this however I want. I made a bunch of puns. That's how I forgot. Okay. Let me just stand up here. See you, Hitano. Good night. Good night, everyone. Yeah, no, I made a lot of cheese puns. Okay, so for this, let me I usually get an idea just by I actually do read these things just to get an idea of how I want to start it. In places and show monsters. Okay. Dude. Okay. You ever wonder who built these? That's how I'm gonna start. So like, okay. I don't script, by the way. I haven't made a script for one of these videos since the werewolf video. I just usually wing it. Like I do have ideas that I formulate as I'm doing this. So I do have to ask the question, do you wonder who built these things? And if whoever built these, why does no one maintain any of them? Seriously, we have sewers, we have dungeons, they are all in disarray. Why does no one maintain any of them? It can't be that hard. I mean, even the monster girls who live in these places, couldn't they have some courtesy to keep everything clean? There is slime on the floor. Careful where you step, rookie. You might slip and fall. Yeah, that. So I do have to ask the question, do you wonder who built these things? And if whoever built these, why does no one maintain any of them? Seriously. Alright, good? I could do better. Alright, I got it now. I got it. So. Also, if I sound different in stream than when I'm recording, it's because OBS allows me to put another filter on top of my current voice mod. So, like, I can only do it once through I require to use Premiere Pro's audio thing, so I only have the one filter instead of the double filter I use for OBS. You know, it's on question on everyone's mind. Why does no one maintain the dungeons? Why does no one in the world maintain dungeons? They don't maintain the sewers. Even for the monster girls that live in here, no one maintains anything. There is slime on the floor. Be careful, rookie. Don't watch your step. I don't want you to slip and fall because I don't have the medical. Damn it. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, this is just entirely what I do. There is a so I have an image. I have a picture on my wall of Kingdom Hearts 2, like one of the images from Kingdom Hearts 2. So whenever I make one of these videos, I'm talking to Soares. He's the goddamn rookie. Oh god, like if I do this alone, I'm the only one in this room currently. I talk like a crazy person, and it works. Yeah, no, I have. I want to see if I can find the exact image of. I want to see if I can find the exact, like. I don't mean to, like, talk directly into or talk directly to the image, but, like, my eyes wander there because I need a focus. Okay, like, I need a focus point to keep my head, like, level, so I'm not, like, talking into the ground or talking way up high. I need to, like, keep, like, like, keep my head leveled. So, let me see if I can. So I use this image of Kingdom Hearts that I have hanging on my wall, and I just talk to it. Because it's like, it's perfectly level with my head. That I can talk. I can talk to it. So, just look at this picture on the wall. So, if you're ever wondering, what is. It was either that or the Ragnarok scroll that I have hanging up in the left, like, above my computer, which is slightly higher, so I don't use it. I am not a professional. Oh, I know exactly what to do. You ever notice how no one in the world maintains sewers or dungeons? You go into a dungeon and, you know, there's moss, there's slime on the floor. Watch your step, rookie. I don't want you to fall. I cannot heal you. There's, like, cracks in the bricking. No one maintains these things. Even for the monsters and monster girls that live in these places, no one seems to have, like, even the slightest amount of upkeep. Perfect. You ever notice how no one in the world maintains sewers or dungeons? You go into a dungeon and, you know, there's moss, there's slime on the floor. Watch your step, rookie. I don't want you to fall. I cannot heal you. There's like cracks in the bricking. No one maintains these things. Even for the monsters and monster girls that live in these places, no one seems to have like even the slightest amount of upkeep. Perfect. That's fine. Alright, perfect. We can go further. Because I need... Because that's only 30 seconds. It took me 30 minutes to get 30 seconds of recording. This is gonna take... This takes me a while, because if I don't have a good idea at first, it's just kind of like I'm banging a hammer against a wall. There's also, I'm probably also going to make a joke. So I have, in any instance, I don't know why I started it, but like in any instance of like a character or like myself, I apparently have this hatred of snails. So, and slugs are like the closest thing to a snail. It's kinda. There's gonna be a snail hatred joke somewhere in here. Everyone's going to question it. It's just gonna be in there. It is a fact of life that I keep doing the same joke across any character I've created. Have like even the slightest amount of upkeep. Actually, hold on. Let me see this slime here. I know this. I don't know why that was my first thought. My immediate next thought was like slime on the floor. Hold on, I know what that is. Like do the like the joke of like tracking someone. Hello, bird gamer, bird. You know the joke, like it's the joke of like you see someone like trying to track an animal. They go, I know these tracks. Like they take a little bit of the mud, sniff it, and then start licking it. I don't know why I started with the licking part first. So I don't know. I make any mouth noises, you know, are purely from me. Anytime you hear a loud sniff, yeah, I didn't make a good disgusting. You guys don't know that trope? You know, I'm probably the only one that does that. That would disgust. Listen, I take these videos not so seriously. Hi, Warrior of Light. Alright, have like even the slightest amount of upkeep. Hold on, rookie. Stand aside. Let me see the slime. I know the smell of the slime. Yeah. It's a dirty snail following us! There's nothing there. Hold on, rookie. Stand aside. Let me see the slime. I know the smell of the slime. Yeah. It's a dirty snail following us! God. Sometimes you have to make the noises yourself. I think this part is good. Okay, how do I go from here? I think you'll make it better if you like poorly imitate Snake from Metal Gear Solid. Okay. You can. Hello, boss, but how exactly do you know the difference of slime smells? Well, you see, a slug is fragrant. It's got a hint of. I can't. Listen, have you guys not? I'm surprised all of you take my instructor character seriously. He's insane. I've literally wrote him to be mildly crazy because he is me and I am mildly crazy. Y'all have not been sniffing enough. You all have not been sniffing enough slime to know the difference between one Monster Girl slime between another's. I am standing up, by the way. I am like fully like turning and moving my body and waving my arms wildly. Oh, yes, Musk. I can't do I can't do I can't do Snake from Metal Gear Solid at all. I can. Yeah, Colonel. Yeah. Because in my head, Snake to me is just a bunch of like, Colonel. We gotta get to Metal Gear. I don't know why. In my head, that's my image of Solid Snake. So like, Colonel, I'm detecting a pungent aroma coming from the slime. Yeah, snail trail, all right. Colonel, we're being followed. Calling for reinforcements. Oh god, do you know what's going? If I go down this pathway, I need to go grab some Metal Gear Solid music. God. Trying to sneak around the guards, but I'm too dummy thick and the clap of my ass keeps alerting the snails. Do you want me to? God, I feel like making another mouth noise because I'm probably gonna do that at the end where it's just like, this isn't snail slime. This was slug slime. Quick. Rookie. I'm detecting a pungent aroma. God. I like I've gone so off track because all right. It's a dirty snail following us. Quick, Rookie, round the corner. We gotta hide. Okay, maybe not like that. Maybe not with the grunty voice. It's a dirty snail following us. Wait. Might be a slug instead. Still, we should probably move fast. Wait. Might be a slug instead. Still, we should probably move fast. Imagine scene where Rook gets covered from head to toe in slime, and then the Metal Gear Solid. Oh no, we're losing his fast Rookie. Rook. Now if I hear a slurp, Listen, in my head, I won't make a full slurp noise, but I'll make like either a lick noise or like a small like noodle like I won't go like the full like trying to tube slurp it. Also, this begs the question. If I wonder I might have to do a Metal Gear joke one day for April Fools. This is just a volume. It really has just turned into like, how close can we get? Also, I don't know why the thing isn't showing up on your guys' side. There is like a video that's supposed to be here. I don't know why it's not showing for you. Unless it's gotta be like all the way up top now. Method. There we go. Now you can actually, I forgot to do it all the way. But I feel like if I were to do a Monster Girl Monster Girl Solid, I would have to make it its own video. Alright, so okay. Let me open up my book here. I went too far. That's a roper. Giant Slug, here we are. I like how, okay. I'm not even to the reading yet. I'm just reading it just to see if I can get any more, like, stuff out of it. Literally, in the book here, it says produces a most vile and erotic sound. Squish, squoosh, squish, squoosh. It says that in the book, actually. I am out. I'm not kidding. In the book, as like explaining exactly how this book explains like intercourse very intimately. It in italics, squish, squoosh, squish, squoosh. It's the Giant Slug entry. What is happening? I feel okay. I'm really tempted to just add in a random like Metal Gear codex just for a split second between like the Bunkles and the Colonel. Because I actually don't. I have an image of myself, which you see here, but I don't. It's not completed, so I don't want to use it in a video quite yet. I don't actually have any designs for the rookie themselves, so I might just do a Colonel joke. Or I can keep it normal. It's tempting, but I'll have to keep it normal, because it can come out of the blue, but again, as Warrior of Light said, if I'm gonna to do it, I gotta do it all the way. Can't half-ass it. I will, however... Still, we should probably move fast. Seriously, Rookie, did the clap of your ass cheeks alert all the slugs? Still, we should probably move fast. Come on, rookie. You gotta be quieter. I know the clap of your ass cheeks alerts the slugs. So you gotta sneak better. I gotta sneeze. I gotta sneeze. I lost the sneeze. Come on, rookie. You gotta be quieter. I know the clap of your ass cheeks alerts the slugs. So you gotta sneak better. That will be our Metal Gear joke for that. Like, okay, so we have, excuse me. So it goes from giant slug, which its habitat is sewers, wetlands, and forests. Then we have the devil bug, which is buildings and caves. So maybe I transition into the pipe background I have saved, because then it'll go into like a actual dungeon. Into Roper, which habitat's unknown. Golem, habitat also unknown. Gargoyle, towers, and ancient castles. Mimics, and then we get into the desert. Monster girls, or another portion of the desert monster girls. So like, this can probably transition up. If not through the pipe, I can just grab a, I can, and this is for next time, this is not for this current one. I can transition into like an actual like castle dungeon. I feel waterlogged for some reason. We can transition into like the actual castle for the next one, because that's the Roper, or no, Devil Bug. Because every other, like, monster girl, like, the two next entries don't have habitats. So you could just place them anywhere, honestly. Excuse me, I don't know why. You ever get that feeling of, like, you got out of, like, a pool and you just, like, waterlogged? I don't know why I feel like that. Whew. You're forgetting the most important weapon or tool adventures. Pocket sand. Okay, but here's the actual thing. I considered making a pocket salt joke here. Sand won't do, but salt works great on slugs. It's been established. Well, not been established, but I'm pretty sure it's considered that the instructor has the ability. Here's a lore drop for you. The instructor canonically has hammer space, if you know what that is. He just had, like, he does have a belt where you can see him pull things out of, but like he reaches behind his jacket and just pulls stuff out. Yeah, hammer space. You know when like cartoons where like Tom and Jerry, they pull out giant hammers out of nowhere. It's called hammer space because where are they gonna fit that hammer? It's an actual thing it is an actual thing. They just call it hammer space or whatever. I feel like he has hammer space, but in terms of like his like deeper weaponry, like, pulling out swords, maces, great shields, and all that just out of nowhere. And the smaller objects, he just keeps them on his belt. I don't know. It seems in the long run, it will get explained. I do actually have It is tune logic, but the actual ability is hammer space, because like the bag of holding from D&D could be considered hammer space. Why is my father playing The Sims 4? And I do actually have a reason for him to be able to use it. Just like he has a reason for a lot of things. Like, I have a reason for him to not be able to use magic. I have a reason why he seems so out of place in the world. I have a reason for why he just suddenly appeared one day. I actually do have... I don't have it written down, I just have it stored in my brain, but I do have... Season 1 or Volume 1 of the Monster Girl book is all about world building and character building, specifically for the instructor. And Volume 2 is going to be more fantastical, because if you guys actually seen Volume 2, all the Monster Girls in Volume 2 seem more fantastical. Like, it goes into more Japanese mythology. You got weird, like, Greek mythos with the weird berry sheep. So it works hand in hand. And also, you know, at the end of Volume 1, if we directly continue into Volume 2, I do actually have a reason for my character going into... a reason for doing different projects. Like, an actual lore reason of why I'm doing different videos. It's all if you... Just imagine me in, like, front of a wall with all the, like, no red lines, like, pinned to, like, images and, like, photos and stuff. It all comes together, I swear, it all comes together. This is exactly what happens. I may be able to talk to you guys while making this, but I do this exact same thing when I'm not streaming. This is just Bunkles, just at his purest. How do I do need to do a whisper voice. I'm not good at... Whispering is hard, because, like... Whispering is hard. Because when it captures, it's not... I don't have a... DLX? I don't have an actual, studio microphone to say. I don't have one with an, what are the words I'm looking for? XLR, like, input, which is audio only input, and gets better, like, audio control. So, like, whenever I try and, like, exaggerate my voice, it's hard for it to pick up. I would like to get an XLR microphone at some point, but I'm working with what I got. The best I can do is use voice mod, use filters just to get, like, my voice in the right audio cue for it to have a little more bam. That you know what I'm talking about. So you gotta sneak better. Hold on. Let's see. Let me see. Pocket sand, pocket cheese, pocket chocolate. Ah, here, take this pocket salt. Okay. Scrapping that one because I did stutter a bit at the beginning. So you gotta sneak better. Shh. Okay. Let's see. I got some pocket sand, pocket chocolate, pocket cheese. Ah, here we go. Pocket salt. Take this. Throw it out there. Should give us enough time to escape. Shh. Okay. Let's see. I got some pocket sand, pocket chocolate, pocket cheese. Ah, here we go. Pocket salt. Take this. Throw it out there. Should give us enough time to escape. Like how I'm making the Slug out to be like some apex chase predator. Honestly, honestly, most of the most of the monster girls are probably apex predators in terms of humans. What else can I do? Uh, sorry, I'm like blank minding because, imagine the Slug. Listen, if humans, if you think of humans at the top of the food chain, and then monster girls being able to compete and be better at hunting, quotation marks, hunting humans, by logic, monster girls as a whole are apex predators. But if you really wanted which ones are the apex predator, the dragon, the chimera, any of the demon lord or high succubus, apex predators. Except they don't. I mean, yeah, they can hunt everything. They are just apex predators by definition. I don't know, maybe a slug can hunt a bear. With their capabilities, I think a slug can hunt a bear. Just a regular bear, not a bear girl. Or Bear Grylls. Nah, I'd win. What's funny, have you actually, any of you read, have you guys read some of the comments on, like, my previous Monster Girl videos? I love reading everyone's comments, let me tell you. There's one guy who's really role-playing as Sun Wukong or Goku. There's another guy who's a plague doctor. We got... It's all so good. Because everyone is making their own little stories. But they also respectfully... it's like they are like godlike entities or like superpowered individuals, but at the end of the day, there's the instructor, and they still treat him with respect for what he is, and I love that. Like everyone's made their own little like characters. They decide to like do a little role playing in chat or like little stories. One one guy makes funny ass scenarios. That reminds me, I still need to work on that. 1.5. Yeah, they're so fun because the good ones respect the characters. Like, you can. I don't care if like anyone. Like, I would use Final Fantasy as my best example. I don't care if you're like playing as like some like god hunter or god killer or like sexiest person around. At the end of the day, if you respect the world that you are in and you respect the pre-established characters, I do not care what you do. I do not care. Just don't go murder hobo anyone. But if you need to murder hobo anyone, do it in the funniest way possible. Throw it out there. Should give us enough time to escape. It also should give us enough time for me to explain the monster girl at hand, the giant slug, and be able to handle them. So let's go over the giant slug. That is our transition point in... Wait, I put it. did this get shifted off point? That's fixed. That's not what I want to do. If it sounds like I'm distant, I'm actually like bent over my computer away from my microphone because I, again, was standing up when doing recordings. So, this is the part where when I first introduced the what I like to call the Great Explanation Room, I don't ask why I called it the Great Explanation Room, I just did. I just faded it into, or did like a transition. I'm now doing more creative transitions with one being a giant cheese, one being like a sewer panel rolling around. I think for this one, how about we just have a slug slowly slide across the screen? Like not too bearably, like not too unbearably slow, but just slow enough that it's just like, come on, come on, slug, come on, move faster. This is where the I'm setting back down. So, and let me see. I don't have a slug PNG. I need a good. I found a snail. I don't have any good slug. There's no good slug images here. Because they're all like lean and stuff. There's the slug from Monsters Inc. Like the slug moves, pauses, moves again. I could also do a snail. I could also make a snail joke here again. Yeah, snail would fit the screen better. Let's see, that is transparent. Okay. So we grab this. We're gonna scoot that back a bit. Remove that transition there. And snail. Big snail. Okay, so we want it to be right around there. Position. And we have it scoot. Kind of like there-ish. Have it wait a bit. Then continue on. Wait a bit there. Then continue on off screen. So that should look something like zoom and snail. Maybe a little too fast. Let me feed here. Waterfall. If I did a waterfall of slime could work better if this snail. How do I slow down the snail? How do I... The button here. There we go. It would... So we can actually extend this. And look, the giant slug. That looks better. I just change its velocity there. Scoot this over here. Giant slug. And it just is... Okay, I accidentally cut off like a bit of its tail. I didn't mean to do that. Giant slug. Now here is where the fun part comes in. This is how I make these happen. So we are actually going to crop this. Make sure I have the right direction. Okay, no, crop left. No, crop right is what we want. So we have a point here. Snail comes by here. Going to be there. By the time it is off screen there, it should be fully there. That giant slug should not look like that. Now we adjust here. I'll try and get it so it's like not too covering, so. So that should look like giant slug. This. Better. The end part needs a little working though. That aside. Now that part needs work. Sometimes you have to like make additional key points just so it's not like overextending too far. Yep. And sometimes you get awkward occurrences like this. So now, nail goes through perfectly, like that. Giant slug. I could also squatch it. Like, I could do... It just slowly do it. That's good enough. I was thinking I could probably like squash and stretch it. Right there's where we want it. Then signs come down. Go back up. And then that appears. So now we're at the main bulk of the video. The next part that comes up is I get to bust out the book. Or I have the book busted out, but this is where the most retakes happen, by the way. So we are working with a giant slug. That's kind of like there. They are a molluscan. I don't know if I can put that entirely here. So I'm just going to abbreviate to mollusk. They're good enough. And for some reason, they belong to the shell family. Since that's slightly outplaced, I usually increase size, decrease size if it doesn't quite fit. Funny enough, during my dark elf video and dwarf videos, one commenter got really nippy, I would say, about typing. Because, you know, dwarves belong to the dwarf family, elves belong to the elf family, but their type is a succubus type. Because they're still monster girls, and they're, in the book itself, they are corrupted by monster girl energy. I'm just gonna call it, like, dark energy or something. And they're, like, super confused because, like, shouldn't it be, like, aren't they just elves? Like, no, they're still, you know, infected by monster girl energy. And it's just like, but they're elves. It's like, listen, sir, I have explained it the best I can to you. I don't know what more you want out of me. So for their habitat, I gotta reopen. I don't have a good, like, book holder. So I have to, like, prop it up on my desk or, like, hold it in my hand while typing. Sewers, wetlands, and forests. Nature is mild and dull. Type the one that's easiest. Hunter fats. Their diets, I did read, are herbivorous. We have sewers, wetland, sewers, wetlands, forests. Going to shrink that a bit. There's no easy way. Okay, hold on. Maybe if I want it to fit, so wetlands. They're talking about it like it's D&D. That was the funny thing. Like, they're like, but D&D taught me. It's like, this ain't D&D. And that was like, you know, I thought it was funny. I wasn't like making fun of it. It was just like a funny occurrence. Like, that's not how that works. Another funny occurrence was I was talking about the Medusa, and another guy in the comments was like, actually, Medusa is the name, and she's actually a Gorgon. And it was the first time I had to make like a sort of like, actually comment. It's like, dude, Medusa is the name of the race. You would be right if I was talking about Greek mythology, but we're talking about monster girls here, and to distinguish this specific monster girl, they're called Medusas. So yes, you are correct, but you're not correct here, boy. I'm just gonna make a list of some of my favorite comments and probably make a video on that, because, like, if I had a nickel for every time something like this has happened, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it happened twice. So for this next part, I type out the entire, like whenever I read this part, I always type out what I'm reading. Sir, this is a Wendy's. You got that Big Mac? Sir, this is a Wendy's. Yeah, you know, give me the Whopper with McCheese. What? Sir, that's 2 restaurants you've gotten wrong. Give me a Whopper with McCheese. I want to go to a Wendy's and say that to the poor. Like, obviously, I'm gonna be messing around. You know, I'm not gonna, like, be a jerk and do it. I'm gonna mess around with them and then pay them. It's like, yeah, give me a Whopper with McCheese. God, what is another many? Oh yeah, and can I get a strawberry blizzard? Like, play it out as if I'm just gone. Like, I don't even know where I am at all. God. Oh, so I am. So let's see. It's big. Their dads or some old guy say for Starbucks. Those poor people. I never like Starbucks because I don't like the idea of ordering. So, like, I don't like hyper specific orders. Like, I would rather point at a menu and say that one and just have it made. I don't want, like, to have to explain exactly, like, every concoction of my order. I'm very much a plain person. I don't want no frappuccino, double cream, double sugar, hold the ice, spritz of vanilla, spritz of caramel. Can I get some whipped cream on? I don't like doing that. Mainly because I'm a type of person who would rather be in, out, and be home in my little cave eating like the goblin that I am. Alright, so once the transition is over. I don't try. That's the problem. I don't want to think that I'm going to do that. And since I don't know nothing about Starbucks, I've just avoided it. Then again, I don't get coffee all that often. I usually make my own stuff. Or, you know, I go to Tim Hortons and just get a box of donuts. Like, there's reason, like, I don't go to Panera Bread because I don't like their menu selection. Because I don't go to Starbucks because I'm fearful for being stuck behind a person who has a hyper specific order. I could just go to the convenience store and not have to. I prefer no interactions. Not because I hate people, but because I'm scared that I will say something wrong and all hell breaks loose. I would rather be the goblin that I am. Alright, hold on. I have to go in my... Oh, good. I gotta stand up again. The giant slug is a mollusk-type monster girl that belongs to the family of shells. Their habitats are sewers, wetlands, and forests. Their natures are mild and dull, and their diets are herbivores. I already got it. I messed it up already. I was looking at the word. Herbivores. Their diets are herbivores. You get a moment. Herbivorous. The word is herbivores. I don't know why I was trying to say the H of that. I gotta redo that. Say this part takes the most out of me because I usually try and do it in one take and then cut up what I need to do. However, I've gotten better at not, at leaving in the outtakes just to cut them out later because I would, have a perfect recording, mess up at the last. It's like I gotta restart the entire thing. All right, we gotta go bald. I lost my page in the book. The giant slug is a mollusk-type monster girl that belongs to the family of shell. Their habitats are sewers, wetlands, and forests. Natures are mild and dull, and their diets are herbivorous. Yeah! Sometimes you just get good takes like that, too. So now we... The giant slug is a mollusk-type monster girl that belongs to the family of shell. Their habitats are sewers, wetlands, and forests. Natures are mild and dull, and their diets are herbivorous. Sometimes I got better at this, so I have less chance, but sometimes the book throws out a word that you know how to say, and or you don't know how to say, so I would search up how do I say this word? And it's like, okay, I practiced the word. When I actually get to the word in the sentence, how brain do work is what happens. And here comes the long part. Please, oh please, I'm not even sure how I managed to get if you guys actually seen or watched the entirety of what I read, how have I not been shot off YouTube for reading this book? Squish, squoosh, squish, squoosh is in this book. It makes... This is my call to fame. I've had people say, how are you here? Alright. Here we go. And their diets are herbivorous. The giant slug is a monster with the lower body of a slug that prefers to live in dark, damp places. Giant slugs originate as shell monsters, but over the course of evolution, discarded their shells as an impediment to pleasure. When a giant slug spots an appealing human man, she squirms along on the ground directly toward him, true to her sexual instinct. However, she is by nature very relaxed and dull in movement. Thus, giant slugs are easy to escape if one acts decisively. What one must not do is be deluded by her seeming endless... What did I mess up on? I said endless instead of gentleness. I saw the E before I saw the G. I could... Well... I went a little fast there, so I probably could slow it down. I like how... So I have a narrator voice, which is... Okay. I have not once been struck by a flag or limited restrictions on any of my Monster Girl videos. Not because of the content. I have been struck for thumbnail reasons, because back when I was first creating them, I used to work with the gradient, and I was not good at making thumbnails. So it would just be the image of the Monster Girl, my gradient in the background, and a picture of the book. And I got struck because they're like, oh, it features nudity. When it, arguably did not feature nudity. So that's what urged me to get better at making thumbnails. So there's less I still showcase the Monster Girl itself, but I make jokes in the thumbnails about the content. But I've never actually been restricted on any of them for the content itself, just the thumbnail, once or twice. I have also gotten restricted on my account, or not restricted, but copyright claimed for Kingdom Hearts music, honestly. Not on any of my Monster Girl videos. I somehow slide past, butter, past, TOS. But whenever I did my, randomizers... Yeah, no, the words I say, I'd always make sure, this is not for kids. This is not for kids, why are you here? But whenever I did my randomizer Kingdom Hearts streams, or anything, Kingdom Hearts loves... There's a random... No, it's not even Square Enix. It's some opposite copyright claimer who doesn't even work for Square Enix. And I've had to... And they never go through with it because they know they're in the wrong, but... Word of advice, if you ever make a video, always make sure that the person who is trying to copyright claim your stuff is the legal title holder of the music at hand. If it's something from a Disney movie, make sure it's from Disney themselves. If it's something from Square Enix, make sure it's from Squeenix. If it's anything like that, you make sure... Oh no, so if you're doing a remix, I know ProJared was trying to do Final Fantasy VIII, and they were trying to use music from the game, but they got hit with a copyright claim from a guy who was trying to claim it for their remix of the song from Final Fantasy VIII. At that point, it gets weird. Copyright's weird. It's an entire mess. So you can avoid it as much as you can, but there's some bad actors out there, is what I'm saying. But I've yet to be struck for my reading. Honestly, I will say this, what I'm doing is considered, can be considered stealing, I guess. Or not stealing, but, not good because I am reading the full book, but as Kenku Cross has gone off to say, they don't care as much what you do with the characters, and also I am like 80% sure that reading this book, I don't think the Japanese companies would hunt me down because I'm reading it in English. So I'm safe because of a language barrier. I'm safe because the creator kind of is lax with their stuff. And also, I'm adding in my own spin on it. Mostly. I need to get better where I want larger chunks to be in the beginning and end, and have the reading be like a side thought. So I'm trying to get better so the reading isn't the largest chunk of the video. Sometimes I can't do it. Sometimes I can't do it because the context is a slug. There is not much you can talk about a slug. Like, I can go on about all the, like, stuff if it was, like, a, you know, a D&D monster or, like, a mythological monster that everyone knows of because there's a lot more information to draw on. But if it's something like a devil bug or slug or, sea priest, ones that are, people will know about, but, there's not much to pull on. There's not many jokes I can make. The snail joke was just something that I've done for millennia. Yeah. And I tried to, like, I will use re-assets, but I make it a point to try not to reuse assets as much as possible. Like, I will, of course, use the Gray Explanation Room, something that I've made by jamming images together. I've actually created that myself. But, like, as far as, like, backgrounds or, all that, I tried not to do it. The only instance where everything was somewhat the same was the giant ant and ant arachne videos, but that was easy picking because those two are meant to be the same, so I reflected that in my video by making everything the same. So there might be a coming point in time where I have to reuse images if I am not at the point where I can hire someone to make a background for me for cheap. Well, cheap as in I don't have to spend an arm and a leg every single video. I reuse animations I've made. That's streamline. There's things that's the word I'm looking for. Certain things I streamlined to make it easier to produce because I didn't want to remake all my hanging sign animations. So, like, I wanted everything there uniform. Or whatever. I don't think my Cyclops had. Oh god, I have to remake because I can't find the actual Adobe file. I know it's somewhere on here. I can't find it for my previous Monster Girl, which was, I believe, the giant large mouse. I don't know if I have the assets for I don't know if I have the assets for my one thing, my threat levels. Let me actually search my computer real quick. Because I need to find that. Because I would have to remake that from scratch, and I'm kind of not willing to do that. So this PC. I just need to find either the large mouse or one of the Sahagin. I think I did one for. Can't remember what was the earliest I did for one of those. Unless I did happen to make a... Did I do a threat level for the Cyclops? I have to go back and check. I did not. Okay. So when did I start doing that? There's the sands, there's the Cyclops, there's... I did see the other guy. I like their voice. Did I lose? Scene. On general. OneDrive documents. Adobe. Here it is. Okay. I found the file. Open project. It's in my... It was in documents. That's where it was. Which I should probably move somewhere else. We are looking for our latest one, which was large mouse. I think I can... I'm gonna grab this. Did I mean, they look a little better. I'm going to use this one because I believe I actually edited... The Cyclops is the earliest example with the... Because I only use the explanation room on my Alice video. So I think I made this one slower. And like if I move that there... Yeah, I definitely made this one. I made it slower so I can, you know, as it comes in, I can read it. I will have to retype, but... This is why you remember where your project files exist on your computer. So you don't have to do what I did. Good thing I found that. I will move that folder eventually. Forets. Sometimes there's a couple videos I want to say I left don't go and check, please. But whenever I did the great explanation room and like the specific like this thing, I want to say there is a few moments where I misspelled something. So don't Don't go back and check, because I'm afraid I did misspell a couple things. That looks better. What I can do here is chop that. Chop that. So as soon as that appears, it should look something like... The giant slug is a mollusk-type monster that belongs to the family of shell. Their habitats are sewers, wetlands, and forests. Natures are mild and dull, and their diets are herbivorous. Actually, back a bit more. Wetlands and forests. Natures are mild and dull, and their diets are herbivorous. That's better. Yeah, I adjusted that part specifically to go slower so I wouldn't have to talk quite as fast. I did speak fast because I was using a different thing, but the next important part from this is I need to grab my entire section here about subjugations. Oh, right, they're the giant. I forgot about the cheese. I forgot about the wedge of cheese. I'm gonna put this somewhere there. Then I need my... So funny enough, this... I'll play it out. This sound is from Sonic Unleashed. I was trying to think of, like, when I was doing it, when I was making this, it's like, I need a sound from... I was like, okay, I need a sound to play when it slams down. And my best option was like, well, I know a lot of video games do sounds whenever there's a ranking system. And the best ranking system that I know was Sonic, but, like, they all had, like, a shiny, like, bling. Like, I didn't want that. I wanted something more gruff. I somehow remembered that Sonic Unleashed had a gruff sound, and I was trying to find it. It took me a while to actually get a hold of a sound folder from the game, and I stole that sound. A lot of the things I've taken off Google or from other things. So here's the next part. So why is that so high up? So we want this lowered. Then we have... I'm looking at my large mouse, so I don't close that panel. I usually... Again, I take a lot of noises and such from media, like games and such. Because this is... Let's see, how... Want the full body to appear? Do I want it, like, off-screen a bit so it's larger like that? Would want to showcase the entire thing. It's just a tail. It'll be fine if they're like that. So, when the snail's right there, does it appear? That's one of the easy ones. Here's the next. Here's the tricky bit. So the snail's in position. Or the slug's in position. I need to adjust the size of this. So that when it is here, how do I do this? The easiest way is to grab everything. Punch it up 1. So that didn't. Make sure I don't delete anything during this. Do a copy paste. Actually, no, we don't need to copy paste. I have the image right here. So this, what's going to happen is I want it to top left. I want it there. It's going to end there. And then this will take its place there. So it's more centered. And that sequence should look something like
Slug.
this. Stops in place. And you don't see
giant
any...
slug is a mollusk-type monster.
Shut up, me. You don't see any of the transitions there. There's a... Make sure I didn't... I did... That the problem is when doing that, it did not grab the... Guys, so I need to redo that. Because it deleted something. So that's what I wanted to do. I just need to make sure it doesn't do, you know, remove a thing. Because if you can't grab everything, it does this weird thing where it only grabs a certain amount and pushes up. Deletes whatever's below it. Top left. As soon as the snail's here, does not matter. It's just going to disappear. Then that can cease to exist. There. That can be dragged back down. And then this can be stretched out over here. Back to there. I think I can actually move it. Can I move this back further? I can, and then I can grab my doodads here. Punch them down. Make sure everything's in place. Perfect! I want to try and, like, I don't want to, like, have, like, too many, like, open spaces, so it just kind of... It's just going to look like a massive block. What else can we do? We have... The intro has been made. Next up is I got to get the reading done. Then threat levels. And then leave it at 8 minutes. I don't know if it'll be an 8-minute video exactly, but close enough. You make a meme on Discord of me talking to the post. Damn it, I just saw that. I was looking at my phone because I got a message to come into work tomorrow to do a thing, so hold on, I have to do a little side check. I have to clock in hours. Time card. So from I don't know how long I'll be working, but so Sunday. I'm there won't be a stream tomorrow. Since I'm taking an extra day to work for monies. I got paid last Friday, which was the 12th, which was for last 2 weeks thing. So if I'll be there from like 5-ish hours, hopefully 6. So I'll save that. See how long I will be there. Sorry, so just making sure I because this is the final week for this this work week, so I need to make sure my hours are set in stone so I can get paid properly. Which happens next week. Yay. So now I gotta stand up and work. Pull up the giant slug. And their diets are herbivorous. The giant slug is a monster. The microphone's not leveled. Rise! Rise pointed at my mouth. And their diets are herbivorous. The giant slug is a monster with the lower body of a slug that prefers to live in dark, damp places. Giant slugs originated as shell monsters, but over the course of evolution, discarded their shells as an impediment to pleasure. When a giant slug spots an appealing human man, she squirms along on the ground directly toward him, true to her sexual instinct. However, she is by nature very relaxed and dull in movement. Thus, giant slugs are easy to escape if one acts decisively. What one must not do is be deluded by her seeming gentleness and approach her. The giant slug's body is always wrapped in a binding fluid, which she will apply to her captive to inhabit. I'm just going to redo that one. Giant slugs originated as shell monsters, but over the course of evolution, discarded their shells as an impediment to pleasure. So, cut there. So we have one. How many paragraphs is this? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 paragraphs. I used to God, there used to be a time where I used to pull there was a proto bunkles or proto instructor where I used to sound like a gruff chuff man, you know. Yeah. All of roads lead to Macho Man, but I usually talk like this, and I tried to do the entire reading in this voice, you know, trying to sound like this the entire time, and it really, really hurt my throat after a while until I was able to master it here. And then you can immediately see the switch in tone at like the Alrune video, where I immediately just stopped doing that. Like I was trying to find focus of what I wanted to do, and rather than, you know, I didn't want it to seem like, oh, you know, we're hunters, the ruffled mentor persona versus the goofy instructor. It was easier to just speak like this, and it gave a more mellow tone, which is why I wanted to aim, because I was moving from we're monster hunters, you know, we hunt, we kill, we do all that too. We are here to preserve, not eliminate. Like, you could see almost the immediate shift in tone from, I think it was when I did the plant monsters. Like, I want to say Alrune was when I stopped doing it, and you could see the immediate shift in tone in like every video afterwards. And it started like I started evolving the character more. But goddamn, the things that I have said in those past videos, I didn't even have any editing. Like, I just threw a picture on screen, did the readings, that was it. Now I make thumbnails, I make the edits, I do the reading in a better voice. I've gotten like better at using my voice, so now I'm slightly amateurish at voice acting. But goddamn, I'm never going to live down the words. I'm never going to live down the words of scrote. Did I say that? I feel like I just kind of sort of threw him in the void. I didn't know if he got arrested for breaking the Geneva Convention. So if I did state that, then that's hilarious. God. Yeah, I wrote him. I do not have a reason for why he's gone in the actual story. He just disappeared. He just, you know, disappeared. Okay, where was I? I'm still dreading the words. I have an itch on my scrote that I said during I think it was the Hobgoblin video that I said that. And any time I had to listen to myself say that in the gruff voice, I just want to die. I just want to curl up and not remember that I said that. I don't know what I was thinking during that. I don't know why. Like, that's still... I did not like that. I did not know what I was doing. I will say, I did better in those old videos of doing more ambience, which I still try to do on occasion. But I would just prefer the music and doing the readings and such. Because it's like hard to do ambiance versus music. I feel like the music fits more in the world because it gives more like of a adventurous style to it, or like a, rather than, you know, silence of like dripping caves and whatnot. Yeah, Cyclopes. That's actually how, that's the actual Yeah, it is pronounced cyclopes, like hecatoncheires. That's it. I know it's weird, uh, but yeah, like it is pronounced cyclopes, and it's uh, what's the word I'm looking for? And it's multi-use because cyclopes kind like cyclopes can be used, but that's only if you're pronouncing the word based on sight. But in actual pronunciation, cyclopes. There's like a few other examples of names that do that. I I don't know why I use it about hecatoncheires. It's a it's a great game. It's also cactuses. Yeah. Cyclopes is also superior to say if you're reading a long like thing because it feels like when you're saying cyclopes, it's like it feels like an immediate stop, whereas you can say cyclopes and continue on. It's an easier sort of wave. I feel God damn it. I'm reading these words and for some reason my brain was reading cactuses, cactuses. I'm I fear for the actual there I believe there is a cactus. Here's a I hate all modern language because I don't know how, who, or why we discovered that if you put uzi at the end of anything, it works surprisingly well. Whoever did that, I applaud you, but you are going to the 7th layer of hell. Now I'm glad you added the anti-wood. When you're when you're dying of hydration and that cactus is looking a little too thick. Oh god. I'm pretty sure after I read the 3 hours of My Immortal, the lack of oxygen might have killed something in my brain, and I am permanently changed. There is a guarantee that I have actually killed brain cells due to a lack of oxygen. There is. God. Now I'm getting war flashbacks to My Immortal. I gotta finish this reading. Where is it in the book? Here we are. Pleasure. Discarded their shells as an impediment to pleasure. When a giant slug spots an appealing human man, she squirms along the ground directly toward him, true to her sexual instinct. However, she is by nature very relaxed and dull in movement. Thus, giant slugs are easy to escape if one acts decisively. What one must not do is be deluded by her seeming gentleness and approach her. The giant slug's body is always wrapped in a binding fluid, which she will apply to her captive to inhibit his movement. Then she will cover his lower body with her sticky genitals and ply them around his own. Better. That was the weirdest way to end that paragraph. Because I wasn't thinking naughty, but I was thinking of like 2 pieces of plywood with like glue on them and someone just rubbing them together. I don't know why. Like, I know it's trying to sound erotic, but the moment you use ply, I start thinking of plywood. I'm at the... Okay. body with her sticky genitals and ply them around his own. In the process of intercourse, the giant slug fondles the man's body and coats it head to toe in her thick slime. This fluid encourages the man's body to stick tighter and faster to the giant slug's as she caresses it and thickens his arousal. Her vagina secretes the same liquid. As it squeezes the penis inside her, it leaves behind stretching traces and produces a most vile and erotic sound. Squish, 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 squish. As it continues on and on with its clinging pleasure. Once it begins, that dull, watery sound can be expected to continue for several hours, perhaps even a full day. Though all observed giant slugs have been female since the Overlord took the stage, it is said that they were previously hermaphroditic. Perhaps as a vestige of this history, on rare occasions, giant slugs have been observed spewing their viscous fluid to entrap human females. The slimy bodies of giant slugs are vulnerable to salt, which when applied, drains their moisture and causes them to shrink in size. This does not cause pain or death, but encourages them to seek men's semen in order to restore their moisture. This increased lust is at odds with their typical slow disposition. I can't believe... I still can't believe I had to read the word squish, 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 squish. So we chop that. Yes. Sorry if you hear the microphone moving. I move it up and down depending, because I stand up to record to encourage lung expansion, but I still can't believe squish, 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 squish. Like, I had to say that with a straight face. This was one of the shorter dossiers. I'll cut that right there. Slam it there. And there is our full audio. I mean, coming from me, saying random squish, 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 squish is natural. Concerning the noises I've made on stream. Alright, so... since this is going to be a short video, the slug, there is nothing going for the giant slug other than salt. And, like, escargot. So we have this. We're going to... up, down a notch. I want it there. And then... so their threat level, I have a folder. I actually have a thing on my desktop that tells me exactly what I use for threat levels. So what we want is if I go to my desktop and I want to say it would be mild because it can pose a threat, but that's only if you're a dumb hunter. Otherwise, it's non-existent. I'm leaning more towards non-existent because if you're an actual hunter and you're dealing with one of these, you already know you can avoid it at all costs, so... but there is the small chance. Like... and my listing goes, non-existent, poses no threat at all. Mild, little to no threat to a single hunter. Average, poses somewhat of a threat to a hunter, if not careful. High, poses serious threat to a single hunter. Severe, poses serious threat to multiple hunters. Legendary, evacuate the area, get any citizen's shelter, and immediately plan for the worst. And I do have a highest one called Deity. And I simply put pray for mercy for the Deity threat level. Yeah, mild... yeah, no, I have a deity class, because this book does talk about like Poseidon and like Overlord, like Demon Lord. So I in the event that I have to do this, I have a deity class threat level. There probably won't be a need for it, but it exists. It's on my file because I needed something because it did talk about gods, and god damn it, Zeus couldn't keep it in his pants. So like the best is legendary, and I think legendary would be like chimeras and dragons and like high succubus. But yeah. Like, if a hunter ever needs to fight God, they're screwed. Again, I have it listed under pray for mercy. So yeah, let's do mild. Where is my... I have a folder. Again, I have a folder called stuff for videos that contains every object I've used when I started cataloging. Where's my threat levels? Here they are. So mild is a shield. Let's place from source monitor. I actually need that to be smaller. Okay, close, but why did it slow down at the beginning there? Oh, I see. I need to... So that should look like that. Yeah. No, it's like... Because I only... When did I actually start doing threat levels? Which video was that? God, I can't remember which video I actually started doing the threat levels, but was it Siren? It was mermaids? Okay. Yeah. So when I was doing that, I was only writing when I was encountering them, but when the sea priest appeared and it started talking about Poseidon, that was when it's just like I was looking at it's like, do I need to go up to like I started writing like, okay, you know, we have, because I was thinking like, okay, dragons, chimeras are going to be like the strongest. Those are going to need like, you need to evacuate because they can cause some serious trouble to the area, the land around them. And then it's like, well, the sea priests are priestesses of Poseidon. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're dealing with gods later on in life. But to the few hunters who've encountered a monster girl god and lived, they have they are legends amongst us. I'm actually I will. I'm not gonna put it here. I'm gonna scoot just forward a bit and then scoot it back when I have my speech here. Ooh, I did not want to do that. Okay, no, you go back. I usually say what their threat level is first, and then go on to explain why I think this into methodology of subjugation. I considered doing it at the end, but I would rather say what my level is and have a discussion there of if anyone would consider it lower or higher, and then I would explain, you know, why I think of it then. If you're wondering why I don't have it, like, at the very end, it also would feel weird if I just did it at the end, and then I transitioned into the ending, like, sequence. Right. Standing up again! Lost is at odds with their typical slow disposition. With this information at hand, I would consider the slug's threat level to be mild. Now we have that. Now we doing it. Once. So that there isn't too much of a gap. It's the hard part, isn't it? There's probably an easier way to do this, but I'm a dumbass. A little bit. Oh. With this information at hand, I would consider the slug's threat level to be mild. So got it. Decent. I just need to move this further a little forward. I want then grab the audio clip I have over here. Mild. Slug's threat level to be mild. Alright. How the you know, I forget why I didn't go. Level to be mild. They can pose little to no threat at all to a single hunter. Got that. And we go into I may have lost balance when standing. So I do this thing where I kind of like pace in. I don't pace around the room. I kind of like pace where I'm standing. And if I don't have enough room to pace around, I somehow lose balance and I just sort of fall backwards into my chair. Video production is all about keeping me on track. What do I want to say here? So their key features are going to be their slow movement. We have. Let me make sure my microphone's level with me. Slow movement or mild movement. Binding slime. Fourth point. I know there's a fourth point. Aversion to salt. Ooh, you know what? I will also add this because this applies to anything that is viscous or slimy. They're not slime based, but they are slime coated. Slime. There's a word I'm looking for here. Because this is important. What I've like a lot of like there are going to have like a resistance to fire because of that slime body. They will get dried out, but ice or like ice based stuff like freezing would work slightly good against like all because slime is weirdly freezable. So like any sort of ice magic against like Sahagins are going to be resistant to fire because their body all that does is dry their bodies up, but since they can move on land, it's not going to be too detrimental. Like mermaids would be more resistant to fire because well, first of all, you won't encounter them in an area where you can use fire, but like any creature that is land based is and land and water based, like fish that can walk on land, is going to have slight resistance to fire, but also a high vulnerability to ice. The weaknesses are slow movement, salt, and I usually say ice-based magic because when I think of ice magic, I think of like just casting like giant like spikes of ice or like they never I say ice-based because that includes not just like ice spikes, but includes snow, permafrost, frost, like anything that holdens the area. That's just how I work. I'm gonna center this like right there. Like fire based, like if I say fire, why is this still doing that? Fire based would include stuff like magma, which can be also considered rock based. So like if you mix and match elements, this is Pokemon now. This is Pokemon. Like ice lightning. It's a thing that exists. Yeah. Like they are weak to salt, but it makes them more aggressive, but they also will move at the pace of a small child. Like, would you rather have an adult giant slug chasing you or a child-sized giant slug chasing you? At the speed of molasses. And I will go into that of strengths. Not just strengths, but I'll call it salt vulnerability. Since they're not weak to salt entirely. Like if you throw salt on a normal slug, it just fizzles out. Correct, kid. Just Just imagine like a hunter throwing salt on a giant slug. They turn into Kid, and like he has gloves on, so it's like move out the way, and he just walks away as he pushes them aside. Now put key features. Like key features are like I say key features, but it's really just summary of the slug. Like they have dual movement, and I say dual movement as in they're not gonna like zigzag or like move in a weird pattern or fly. It's just they're probably going to move at you straightforward, lazily. They're slow. They got their binding slime, aversion to salt, and then oh yeah, I already put aversion to salt. Yeah, no salt. Or salt. And on to that, salt shrinks them. I wish I knew the button to like make a under bullet point. So onto their strength. And I usually write this down first and then like read into my own way. So what we have is their strength are they are strong in the sense that they can appear docile. Or not docile, but they appear slow, and sometimes people will be dumb. I'm actually going to reword dull appearance lures. Strengths are again the binding slime. That'll be its whole point. Another strength it has is you. Okay, hold on. It doesn't work like that in a unless I do that. Press tab. It does not work the same. For some reason, Premiere Pro works differently than like a document. So I'll just leave it like that. I'll go over it. Strengths. What else? So, the whole appearance lures. I want to reword that. I feel like there's got to be a way to summarize that. So, I'll do a dull appearance just and then go on to that. Binding slime. Where'd I put my book? Sometimes you have to reread the entry again and again to just I can't believe I'm putting this, but occasional hermaphrodite is one of their strengths. Because that would make them attack hunters of both genders. That is a strength for them, but only if it's if it is the hermaphroditic kind. We'll also say Salt shrinkage. Increases lust. That would be another one. Because their lust increases when because they need moisture. So that would can also yeah, I've started making because I've made this joke before. Like I mainly talk about like, oh, monster girls, but I've gone on record to say like, oh yeah, monster guys do exist in my world. However, I don't talk about them all that much because the female hunters actually do hunt like where the beast folk of the male variety are a protected species. Which is purely from the joke of you've probably seen like a lot of like VTubers or people and like females in general being like, I want to fuck the werewolf and he's going to be nasty. It's like that is entirely where it stems from, and I will always get a kick out of that because it's hilarious to think of a like it's hold on, where is it? Let me see if I can get the image here. This image. I just think of this. Anytime I think of like, oh, what is a female hunter like? You can tell who's hunting who. You can tell. I love this image so much. Like anytime I have to think of like, oh, this image. I don't know how long ago that image was taken. It's been a while. Alright, hunt prep. I forgot this was water resistant gear or proof gear. Salt. Number 2. Freaking cougar. Yeah, there's only 2 things you need to take care of a slug. Waterproof gear and a container of salt. I guess if you what I've started to do is rather than say how to eliminate one, it's like how do you move a monster girl? Like with the mouse is like you could kind of like put them in a cage or a box and then like release them back into another habitat. How would you move a slug without a I mean, again, box always works, but I think in terms of prep, it's just waterproof gear, prevent any like slime from getting on you, and then a container of salt if you really need to. I mean, they're in areas where no one really ventures, so they're not going to pose a problem. You just kind of the giant slugs seem to be like the type of monster where you're just kind of like, hey, stop it, and you poke them with like a stick. Like they're not aggressive, so it's just kind of like, stop doing what you're doing. Stop. Sure. I did say jar because, like, the thing with slimes is if you can cut. Now, most slime, they don't say they have a core, but I feel like a part of the slime has to be able to function and control. So like in my head, most slimes have a core. You trap the core in a jar, the rest of the body fizzles out and you can move it, but yes, the jar. Please observe the jar. Do not look away from the jar. Please observe the nozzle. And there's really nothing. Like, the problem with it is you're still moving a full-sized human. Like, or about the size of a full human. So, like, there's no easy way to move a slug. You just kind of gotta reduce the area, clean it up a bit. So, funny enough, mop. I will go on to explain, but like a mop with fresh water. Just mop. Like if you're going into a slug area, you can't move them. They're probably already like living in an area that is appropriate for them. So like if you have to have people come through there, just get a mop, clean up the area, make sure there's no slime anywhere. You can use the wooden end to like kind of like poke the you can poke her away, you know, say, "Hey, get back, I'm cleaning. I'm cleaning." And that honestly, that's just it. There's like no like I could method 1. I'm gonna actually gonna say is clean up. Actually, no. I'm still gonna say subjugation, but like subjugation as in prevention. Because subjugate means bring under control. So it is an appropriate word. So you're bringing the slug under control. So step 1. Okay, so method 1 is going to... I probably have only one method, which is... use salt to either... Yeah, that's our subjugation method. Yeah, that's the best I got. Like, I could talk about... They're so easy to deal with. Like, that's the problem. They're mild only because idiots exist. They have... You... Yeah, like, all you have to do is, like, salt circle her, and you're fine. Like, they're already in, like, an area that they live in. Like, if you really encounter... They don't go far. Like, I dealt... Like, a dragon being out of place, that's one thing. A slug being out of place... How did it get there? Someone... Like, that's the thing. A lot of these monsters can be out of their habitat. the slug is like the least likely to end up out of their habitat. They don't move very fast. They live in forests, sewers, and wetlands, which is, you know, areas that either no one ventures across very well. Hey, can I tell you, a rope would not work. Have you ever tried to tie up, like, you would need, like, oh my god. You know what would work better than a rope? Have you ever seen those bags of oranges with, like, you would need fishnet. You would need fishnet to move a slime. You would need fishnets to move slugs. Because they're still solid. They're not entirely liquid, but, like, it is the best way to move them. God. Now, here's the question. Would putting them in fishnets cause them to get a... Slugs in fishnets. That's all I'm going to say. Imagine a monster girl slug in a fishnet stockings. There's a thought to be input into your mind. I am cursing everyone with this vision. I don't... How would it... I know I should probably finish the video, but I got, like, a large enough chunk after, like, 3 hours that I can finish this up later tonight, but... I'm just wondering, how would a snail or a slug wear fishnets? I'm searching that up on Google. I don't care what my search history is like today. I'm searching that up. I am displeased with what this brought up. I'm displeased. Probably just... It's probably that, but I imagine, like, their, like, entire, like, lower bodies just has the, like, fishnet pattern. Actually, that is a good question. We're, looking at her herself, like, I know... Wait, is my mouse visible? My mouse should be visible. I don't know why it's not. Looking at the slug herself, I know the reproductive organs are probably, like, where slug meets human, but, like, the way the book portrays it makes me think that the hole is somewhere on the lower half, on the ground. Like, because that's usually... Snail, hold on. Do I actually have to look? I'm gonna look it up. I need to learn how slugs mate. How do... Like, how do... They just kind of... Mating of gastropods is what I'm looking at. I'm not even okay, this image does not help. I'm looking at these images, and I can barely tell what is happening. I don't like this. Slug mating is weird. I'm like, I'm I I'm looking at images and all I can tell is, how does a snail have a bigger dick than its body? I this is I don't know how to understand this, but I'm going to go off in that the giant slug monster girl probably has a hole somewhere on the underside. Based on biology. I know most people will be like, oh, it's where the snail and female connect, but like, I think it's 100 times funnier if it's just being dragged across the ground. I'm also cursed with the knowledge of I had to look up images of slug mating. At least snails lay eggs. Wait, I mean, slugs do also lay eggs, but like, you know what? I'm just gonna end this. I'm not going on any more searches. I'm done. I'm done with figuring out how these creatures mate. Welcome to my part of the job where I have to actually think of anatomy and how these things would actually reproduce in a biological sense rather than mystical. Because I prefer like actually having some sort of physicality is the word I'm looking for to this. And where was I? I They can pose little to no threat at all to a single hunter. Now that we know how little of a threat they pose, why is this the case? Moving on to key features, their dull movement, slow speed, binding slime, aversion to salt, and the fact that salt does shrink them into a smaller childlike form. Blech. I don't want to do that. That one was a... They can pose little to no threat at all to a single hunter. So why is this threat level the case? Well, going over the key features, which includes that their dull movement, their slow speed, binding slime, aversion to salt, and the fact that salt shrinks them into a childlike form, and their slime-based body, will be... How do I do this? I want to go over those points, but I need a more natural way to go into... So key features is essentially a summary. We go on to their weaknesses. There's words here I can say. I just need to figure out what to say. They can pose little to no threat at all to a single hunter. Going on to the key features as to why this is the case. I can probably now I'm going based on like how fast I go, I can actually slow down here, go further into my explanations, extend a little bit. So, if I were to... I did not want to do that. Grab the entirety of these guys. Scooch them that way. Send this further. This will be adjusted in case I don't use the full amount. Good enough. Because I need some space to say. So, trying to figure out what each of these things do. So key features. And this, why is this here? When was this here? Did it just appear? It's a... What is going on here? To a single hunter. Going on to the key features as to why this is the case. Why did I do that? Like, why does it reappear? Did I do something where I cut out a portion of it that caused it to do that? I don't need that. I do not need that. I just need this part. I apparently left in a portion of it from an earlier part where I extended it and just cut that out entirely. Huh. What was I doing? Sometimes there is little things that you leave in that never get seen. When you have to reuse it, apparently it just shows up. Hidden mechanics. Because why this is the case? Because it appears here, extends, I can do all the talking, and then it should just disappear at the end. At varying speeds. I'm also going to extend that all the way there. So now I have a good Discord. Hope you enjoyed it. What did you put in the Discord? His physical heart. Slug fishnets. I like its little blushing face. All right. Okay. Now with my extra space, should be able to slow myself. Stretch. There we go. Should be able to pace myself better with the extra space. What did I say here? Going on to the key features as to why this is the case. Okay. They can pose little to no threat at all to a single hunter. To summarize the key features, they can pose little to no threat at all to a single hunter. To summarize the key features of the giant slug, we have yes. If I do that, I would have to speak more, but that should be better. They can pose little to no threat at all to a single hunter. To summarize the key features of the giant slug, we have their dual movement. They have a slow speed. Their body is covered in a binding slime, which, in cause, turns... Why could I not have spoken simpler? Why did I have to say that? They can pose little to no threat at all to a single hunter. To summarize the giant slug in key features, they have dull movement, a slow speed, their body is covered in a binding slime, and they have an aversion to salt. When encountering salt, it shrinks them into a childlike form, and all of this included with a slime-based body. That's decent enough. I'll leave it in. Sometimes I can't think of a better thing to say, so I just go with what's genuinely the best. Sometimes it's awkward, sometimes it's not. Just do what you gotta do. Me. Yeah. Listen, I always switch from like standing to sitting. Stand up to speak, sit down to edit because I don't know how long this is gonna take. So now... I didn't need all this space, but... both of them. Okay. I need to move the two of these guys back over here. Then chop that. Scrap that. Do the same over here. Do the twisty fandango. Chop that. Scrap that. Do the exact same over here. Push it along there. Well, I can probably sit down for this. If I just talk with chin up. This included with a slime-based body. Now, because of this Because of their slime-based body, they have clear weaknesses in that they have slow movement, vulnerability assault, and... Yeah, I don't want to do that. This included with a slime-based body. Moving on to their weaknesses, we can clearly see that they have slow movement, able to not outpace any hunter, a vulnerability to assault, and because of their slime-based body, they are weak to ice-based magic. Okay, better, but we can go better. Included with a slime-based body. Moving on to their weaknesses, we can see 3 clear points. I had a stutter in there and I needed not to do that. This included with a slime-based body. Moving on to their weaknesses, we can see 3 clear points of where they're weak. They have slow movement, they have assault vulnerability, and because of their slime-based body, they have a weakness to ice-based magics. Moving on to their weaknesses, we can see 3 clear points of where they're weak. They have slow movement, they have assault vulnerability, and because of their I don't like how I said that. This included with a slime-based body. Moving into their weaknesses, there are 3 points of which the giant slug is weak. They have slow movement, unable to catch normal hunters, they have assault vulnerability, and they are weak to ice-based magic. This one's kind of hard because I feel like I'm not... There's something I need to say because I want to lead into the slime aspect of them. Included with a slime-based body. Moving into weaknesses, there are 3 key points of the giant slug. They have slow movement, unable to catch any hunter, their salt vulnerability due to their slime-based body, and ice-based magics. Like, it always ends so early, and I feel like, yeah, it's decent enough. Alright, I need to scoot that over there. And ice-based magics. However, this is not to say that giant slime doesn't have strengths to them. Their dull appearance can lure in unsuspecting hunters. Their binding slime prevents anyone from moving, and with the occasional hermaphroditic... my brain was on track, doing good. Occasional hermaphroditic, and my brain just immediately started because it could not think of any way to continue that sentence. And ice-based magics. The giant slug is also not without its strengths. Their dull appearance can lead hunters in and bind them using that binding slime, and with their occasional hermaphroditic nature, they will target any hunters, male or female. Along with salt shrinkage only... It's doing so good. Doing so good, and then my brain... I'm getting there. This is how it works. I flub the lines as I'm figuring out what I'm going to say, and then it just hammer it out, hammer it out, hammer it out. And ice-based magics. That's not to say the That's not the... That's not... I can't. I can't. I have broken myself. I have broken my speech. Alright. Yeah. Bleh. You know, this is the exact reason why vocal exercises are used, because if you don't say anything correctly, you get put into this notion of keep saying the first word you say, and you're never gonna escape it. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna make it easy for myself.
And ice-based magics.
That's not to say that the giant slug doesn't have any strengths. See? We just slice it. We just put it into bits and pieces, bits and bobs, and then we go in through and work through it.
That's not to say that the giant slug doesn't have any strengths.
Okay, I need to actually... Oops.
That's not to say that the giant slug doesn't have any strengths. It's not to say that the giant slug doesn't have any strengths.
Their dull appearance can lure in any unsuspecting hunter. Their binding slime will bind them. That's... Redundancy hurts! Another thing I do a lot? I say the same words and end up sounding redundant. The binding slime binds. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Oh god, okay. So I could say like, along with the binding slime can hold a hunter for long enough to do the deed. Time to look up synonyms. Not. Hi, thank you, headphones, for beeping at me, for telling me that my headphones are low on battery. Thank you. I'm not gonna. So it's not a cinnamon. It's not a cinnamon. I'm hungry. It's not a cinnamon thing. It's a. I need to know what to say after that fact.
It's not to say that the giant slug doesn't have any strengths.
Their dull appearance can lure unsuspecting hunters, along with the fact that the binding slime can hold them down just long enough to do the deed. Something like that. Something like that. That was perfect. How the heck?
Their dull appearance can lure unsuspecting hunters, along with the fact that the binding slime can hold them down just long enough to do the deed. Can hold them down just long enough to do the deed.
And don't think... God, this part, I always think, because, like, I don't talk about, like, the... It's gonna be weird to say, but I gotta get through it, because this is how it's going to work.
Can hold them down just long enough to do the deed.
And even if you are a hunter of the opposite gender, their occasional hermaphroditic nature causes you to also be included in their hunting strikes. The hell is a hunting strike? I don't know. I'm keeping that in.
And even if you are a hunter of the opposite gender, their occasional hermaphroditic nature causes you to also be included in their hunting strikes.
Okay, maybe not do hunting strikes. I don't know what word I was trying to... Cinnamons... I was thinking of, like... Is that... Word for... Catalog. Inclusion. The hell word am I looking for? Hold on, it's on the tip of my tongue. I might as well change the dialogue to avoid whatever missing word I'm looking for in my here.
Can hold them down just long enough to do the deed.
And even if
And even if you are a hunter of the opposite gender, due to their occasional hermaphroditic nature, you are included in their targets. That's better. Targets was the word I'm looking for. Quarry. Stuff like that. And even if you are a hunter of the opposite gender, due to their occasional hermaphroditic nature, you are included in their targets. So now what we gotta do is we actually gotta extend this. Perfect. Yeah, that should work. So if you're wondering why it takes me so long to make one of these videos, because my brain, my body, everything, it can take like, I don't do much in terms of full editing, but like, I should really start scripting these more. But I like doing it not off script because, again, I can speak in a personal, goof way. Like nature, you are included in their targets. And if you throw salt on them, don't think that you can escape just as easily in their childlike form, as with the increased lush. Let me take a swig of my drink. I'm dry mouthing this. Always be hydrated. Like nature, you are included in their targets. And don't think by throwing salt on them that you can escape their childlike form, as with their... Okay, not that. Like nature, you are included in their targets. And don't think that just using salt on them can make you escape their lust, as with their childlike form increases their lust and also aggressiveness. Something like that, but less, word stroke, more articulated. Like nature, you are included in their targets. And don't think by... Okay. And don't think just by throwing salt on them you can escape them, as with their small form, I'm deflating. I am a balloon. I am going high into the sky, and then proceeding to fly too close to the sun, I pop and I fall to the ground! Ah! I know what words I want to say, I just don't know why my brain isn't remembering what those words want to say. Like nature, you are included in their targets. And don't think you can escape their small form just by throwing salt on them. You can escape their small form just by throwing salt on them. As with their small form is included in a greater amount of lust, and with greater lust comes greater aggression. As with their small form is included in a greater amount of lust, and with greater lust comes greater aggression. With greater lust comes greater aggression. As much as a aggressive giant slug can get. As much as a aggressive giant slug can get. And I'm not adding it. I wanted to add a joke. It's like, aggression for a giant, a greater aggression for a giant slug, but it wouldn't feel natural in this, like, sort of info dump. So I'm just gonna leave that out. I wanted to, but it wouldn't be natural. Maybe, yeah. Maybe, I'll see. I'll see how I go about this. I'll probably do it in my, ending bit where I go back into storytelling. Because I feel like during the reading portion and like the expository info dumping, information load, whatever they want to call this section, go more to narration and then leave the jokes for the actual story bits, because I wanted to be able to, even though I sort of like lead into this section, I make it so like you can cut this entire part out, leave it be, and there would still be like a story in a minute or two. With greater lust comes greater aggression. Now, due to the habitat areas of the great slime. With greater lust comes greater aggression. Now, due to the habitat of the giant slug, they aren't really going to be ones to be moved around. So, all you need for hunt prep is a waterproof gear, a container of salt, and a mop. This will be explained later. I feel like the giant slug is just more like, you're dealing with like pandas. I was wondering, where is the, there it is. Ever seen like a person who at the zoo like dealing with pandas, then just kind of like flop around? It feels more like you're handling that than like an actual like a tiger or something. They don't do much. They just sort of flop around and be cute. For as cute as a slug is. Salt and a mop. This will be explained later. Subjugation is as simple. You prevent any exposure of the slug slime to yourself. You can use the salt to either shrink the slime to prevent them from moving faster, or you can use it to wall off the slime entirely from certain areas. All you need to do is to mop up the excessive slime to make traveling safe. You're not really going to move the slug around to different areas because they're already in their habitat and they won't move far from these. Yeah, no. Pandas falling. I love the videos of pandas falling out of trees, like tumbling around. It's hilarious, but also like, I also don't want to be the designated panda. Like, there's probably a job out there where it's like, you are the designated person to make the pandas have sex. Because they... Actually, I think that job exists for cheetahs as well. Cheetahs are like somewhat endangered because they are too shy to mate with another cheetah. But like pandas are too stupid to mate with each other. It is hilarious. Like, I have never seen an animal that, like, it's bad to say, like, they're going, well, they're no longer in the endangered. We actually got them out. But like, I've never seen an animal more accustomed to going into extinction than a panda just by looking at them. Like, how did you survive? How did you evolutionary get to this point? It's just so absurd that pandas got here. And the fact that they do everything in their physical power to not exist. So like, a giant slug is like a panda. Like, all you can do is really just like scooch them aside, clean up the area for travel, and just continue on with their day. And like, oh my god, I just realized I can write in a portion of, because I have the guild and all that. I have a subsection of hunters, rookies, trainers, I can write in a section of the guild for people who do menial tasks such as giant slug cleaning, goblin rousing, whole star tending. Like, you wouldn't, because you can have a farmer and you can have a whole star farmer, but like they legally have to be assigned to the guild to manage, so it's just so they know the precautions of dealing with them. I can write that in. I can do that. Fuck it. The guild now has a giant slug cleaning service. Or just like a cleaning service for any slime-based monster girl. You got a mop? You got the janitors. They get paid more because they do the job no one wants to do. The guild pays hunters not all that much because there's a lot of hunters. It goes from the people who get paid, it goes like this. You have the top brass, you know, the people managing everyone, like, and their info. You have the desk workers at the very top, but at the bottom it goes rookies, hunters, people who train the hunters, the janitors, and then the sacrifices. There is a subsection that is not the janitors, but we are also the section that you will get thrown into the fray against a dragon that is looking to mate. You're the first to go. Go, my child. He'll see you in the future. Yeah. like I get dental. The sacrifice, like, yeah, I get paid really well. I get dental. I get health insurance. I was like, what do you do then? Oh, they throw me at dragons. Like the hunt? No, I'm the dragon layer. Technically a sacrifice, but they call me the dragon layer. Then the actual hunters have to come collect me to see if I actually survived. But, you know, the job's fun. It's like, if you think about it, if you go encounter a monster girl, like again, I use dragon because like dragons are the big quarries. How would a human survive a crushed pelvis? So these people have to be a subsection where all they have is durability. The instructor is a sacrifice. He just was able to train people because apparently he'd lived long enough to encounter everything. I don't know, sometimes you need to throw a person into the forest and make sure that... Okay, they're not the sacrifices, but they're the, reconnaissance, yeah. They're the reconnaissance squad, aka sacrifices. That's what it shall be. You gotta pay them good because they're going to be the ones that are like, hey, there's a goblin horde coming. You may wanna send some hunters out. They were expendables. So after I get the subjugation portion, I'm already 5 minutes. That's actually a good checkpoint. Or at least 5 minutes according to this, and then, you know, ending spiel, whatnot. Salt and a mop. This will be explained later. Since you aren't going to move a giant slug from their habitat anytime soon, you just kind of have to move around them and make sure that traveling is safe in the areas that giant slugs are in. So, subjugation goes as this. Prevent any exposure of slug slime to self using waterproof gear. You can use the salt to either shrink the slime, make them more manageable, or you can wall off the slime Wall off the slime from certain areas. Why did I put slime? Oh, because I put slug slime. I keep saying slime because in my head I look at that and it's like, that's not a slug, that's a slime. Salt and a mop. This will be explained later. Because of the way giant slugs are, you're not going to move them out of their habitat, but you can work around them. As such, subjugation goes something like this. Using the waterproof gear, you need to prevent any exposure of slug slime to yourself. You can use the salt to either shrink the slug, or you can wall off the slug completely from certain areas meant for cleaning. With that mop, you can mop the excess slime they left around to make traveling safe and prevent anyone from being binded down. Because of the way giant slugs are, you're not going to move them out of their habitat, but you can work around them. As such, subjugation goes something like this. Using the waterproof gear, you need to prevent any exposure of slug slime to yourself. You can use the salt to either shrink the slug, or you can wall off the slug completely from certain areas meant for cleaning. With that mop, you can mop the excess slime they left around to make traveling safe and prevent anyone from being binded down. Good. Good. Now I usually go, I might want to add a new portion to this where I ease into the story, but I don't know how to properly do that yet. So I'm just gonna brain here a bit. Please, I just need to grab this. Hold on. Easiest way to do that is to just extend it. You extend the field to grab this. I usually cut it immediately. You can leave a little bit after if you want to. I usually cut at the right moments just in case I need to like grab a chunk and move it directly into it. Editing is just finding, your style. Like I just drag and drop images from my computer into the project box. Usually, if you want to send this project to someone else, if you're working cooperatively, you would, import it and then send it off to someone so they can have the exact files you do. I don't do that because I don't send these files to anyone because I work alone for now. Now we have that. And once that completely disappears, 5 minutes and 10 seconds of that. So here's what I usually do. When I finish this up and like I get this, I will type all that this all up later because that takes a little bit and it's just tedious. So the steps I go through once this part is done, I go into the ending bit, like ending story bit, and then the sign off here. And then comes audio. Do I want to add, like, I know I'm going to need like slime audio here for like snail movement. Background music. I need to find something that's appropriate. If not, I can just use stuff I found from the large mouse video, I believe. I think I have these stuff for that. I don't use, like, since this happens all at once, I don't use, like, jingling of chains. I could add that. I don't because this one's pure reading, and I don't want to just throw someone off when I'm reading. So I think I'm good here. I will finish this up. I got a good 3 hours and 30 minutes, so I got like a lot of portions done here. And most of it, I was joking around. I've actually been on track. This, like, to do this much work, it takes me like 6 hours because, you know, if I can't think of an idea, I usually just lay on my bed, look at my phone, see if anything came to me, take a break, you know. I've never been on track fully enough to, like, get it done all at once while thinking of stuff here. So, I'll leave this up on YouTube if you want to watch me work on one of these. There might be more in the future. I'll probably only do this when I'm actually making more Monster Girl stuff. Like, just the hunting videos for now. So, if you like seeing me edit, and you got, like, watching me do this, you got, like, some pointers if you know, use either Premiere Pro or something similar. I hope this has helped. This will be finished up later today for Monday. There won't be a stream Monday. I don't know. I'm taking an extra day to work, so I'm going in the morning. I don't know when I'll be back. So, I'll figure that out. So, I hope you all enjoyed my rookies. Remember to stay safe. Check out the Discord. Check out the YouTube. And this video will be made fully for tomorrow, for Monster Girl Monday. I forgot that, or I usually don't say it, but I always post these videos on a Monday because it is Monster Girl Monday. So, I'll see you all later. Have a nice day, get some food, do what you need to. This is the instructor signing off. Good hunting, everyone.